What's up, guys? This is Nathan, ThatAlbumReviewerGuy, doing another album review, and I'm going to be touching the new album from Like a Storm. It's called Awaken the Fire. This is the band's third album, and if you've never heard of Like a Storm, they're a hard rock band from New Zealand that really made their mark in the United States last year. Most people would probably consider Like a Storm to be a generic radio rock, hard rock, modern rock, whatever you call it, band. And I can definitely see why, but I do think that Like a Storm is a bit different. They incorporate different styles and instruments into their music. For example, a couple songs on this album feature the didgeridoo. How many rock bands do you know feature didgeridoo on their songs? Not too many. And I don't think they're that generic. I listen to a lot of what people would consider generic rock music, and I try to find something different about each band. And Like a Storm, they do stuff like that. That's what makes them different. But anyway, most of this album is actually made up of songs from their previous album, Chaos Theory Part 1. This album is full of a bunch of hard-hitting, in-your-face rock songs, but there's also a soft track on the album that I thoroughly enjoy. It's called Break Free. It's nice to hear something different on the album, and that song is one of my personal favorites on the album. There's also another soft song on the album called Southern Skies. Not as good as Break Free, but it's definitely a solid track. As for the heavier tracks on the album, I really like the two singles from the album. Love the Way You Hate Me is a song that I've been listening to for about a year, give or take, and I never get tired of it. Especially the didgeridoo solo, like I mentioned earlier. Meanwhile, Wish You Hell is a song that I've basically been listening to on repeat for about the past month or so. I wasn't too keen on this song at first, but I got more into it the more I listened to it. I especially like the backing vocals and instrumentation on that song. And there's a bunch of other great songs too. Another thing is this album also features a cover of Gangsta's Paradise, the Coolio song. And unlike a certain band that covered this Falling in Reverse, I think the band handled this cover pretty well. They made the song their own. They didn't rap the verses, they sung them. So I definitely give them props for making the song their own, and not blowing like Falling in Reverse. But that's another story. There is a little bit of similarity on this album that feels a bit repetitive and unnecessary. Overall though, Like a Storm did an excellent job with this album. I don't have too many problems with it, and it's an overall enjoyable listening experience. Great album. Favorites on the album: Chaos, Love the Way You Hate Me, Wish You Hell, Break Free, Southern Skies, and Ordinary. The album gets a 9 out of 10. Almost perfect. Like I said, there's a bit of similarity on the album that feels unnecessary, where some of the songs sound the same when they really shouldn't all that much, but what are you gonna do? But Like a Storm did a fantastic job with this album. They're so underrated, so underappreciated. Check them out if you haven't. They're a great band, and they deserve so much more credit than they're getting. Check them out, please. Like a Storm, Awaken the Fire, a fantastic modern hard rock whatever album. Well, I think that's about all I have to say about that. What do you guys think of the album? And if you know about the album, if you know about the band, tell me, please. Social media stuff: Facebook, Tumblr, AskFM down there. And yeah, I'll see you all on the next review. ThatAlbumReviewerGuy signing off.